say hello to everyone, and I will start with the presentation shortly. Just to like to share with you guys that I'm also working in Octopai. I have a background in the BI and the data platform. I was a BI developer for a very long time and also a business analyst. So I have a vast knowledge, and I was also a user in Octopai before I became head of customer success in Octopai. And as Michal mentioned, please feel free to ask any question that you'd like and have a short Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Okay, so let me begin. I'll just share my screen. Okay, I hope you can all see the screen. So welcome to Octopai, the superpower of your BI and your data platform. So what we will be talking about today is what is actually the Octopai platform. If you have a lack of visibility or the ability to control the metadata that's scattered around your data platform and the BI landscape, this is the place where you can find your answers. I remember in my previous year in my previous positions that I had like a entire day planned, and when I came to the office and then I got a call from one of the business owners that says, okay, I have a 0 in one of the reports, or I have missing information in one of the reports, and the entire day that was planned just went away, and I needed to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to solve this issue. And it might take me a few hours up until to 3 days with different escalations and some different questions, and who is in charge of the information, where is the error, something that went wrong, do you need to fix the entire history of the tables, and so on. And if I had back in the days a tool like Octopai, it would save me a lot of time in finding the issue and in solving the problems that I had. And also when I was in charge of different tickets solving, not to wake up at 4 a.m. to figure out which process was failing and how to solve this process and where to fix the processes in the ETL, for example. So this is just a brief overview of where you can find Octopai helpful for you guys. So what we have here in Octopai, So our platform is actually a SaaS platform, and we harvest the entire metadata and different metadata items from you to our data platform. You have the complete visibility and to control the metadata that's scattered around your data platforms. The information and the metadata is actually yours. We just present it for you. And it's easily used and easy to navigate within the Octopai platform to find the entire information that you have scattered around your BI landscape. And it takes us up to 48 hours to harvest the metadata from you and to present you with the different output of what you have in your organization. And of course, it's intuitive, it's user-friendly. We don't have the limitation of the amount of users. The information is, of course, yours, and you can access with any amount of users that you would like to the Octopai platform. And this is a little bit about us and our platform. And this is actually the supported systems that we have. You can see different systems from the old and legacy ones to the new and let's say more up-to-date ones in the different ETL systems that we have. And we also have all the systems that are coming soon. We have different databases also on cloud and also on-prem. We have the different analysis here in this case by Microsoft, and we have different reporting tools also, as I mentioned, the legacy ones and the more up-to-date ones. Of course, if you would like to see the entire list of the things that we support, you can always access our URL and our website and see the entire list of supported systems. So what we have in Octopai, we have 3 tiers of the BI intelligent platforms. We have the automated data discovery, which I call actually Googling the BI, is the fact that you can write any kind of word or a phrase or even half of a phrase and see where it is located in the entire metadata that you uploaded to Octopai. Whereas in the ETL, in the database, in the reporting, where it's something that is presented to the business user and not to the technical user. So it's actually just Googling the entire metadata that you have in Octopai. We have the automated data lineage, is actually the connectivity between the different systems. If you're not using the same vendor, like you have an ETL with one vendor, you have a database with a different one, and the reporting system is with a different one, and they're not connected to one another. So we make the connection for you. You will be able to see the entire information from the source system up until to the reporting system, or the other way around, from the reporting system upstream to the source system. So we have the entire data lineage and where the entire data is located, the metadata is located in the BI landscape. And since we already have the different items in the database, in the reporting system, and in the ETL for you, and we already harvested, so we have the automated data catalog. We just present it for you, and you can create the information and the descriptions and add descriptions and owners and have communication and community within this different data items that we already harvested. So we give you up to 90% of the different items that you have. You can create, if you have a business asset or some internal terminology that you want to add to the data catalog, you can add them, of course, into our data catalog, and you can add any kind of description that you would like to the data catalog. So these are the three items, the three, let's say, platforms that we have within the Octopi platform. So let's talk a little bit about the data lineage before we move on to the actual demonstration of the platform. We have three tiers of data lineage. The first one is the upper layer. It says the cross-system lineage. As I mentioned before, we have, for example, an ETL by Microsoft, a database by Oracle, and as a reporting tool by Tableau. So they're not from the same vendor, and you need to connect them all together. So the cross-system lineage tells you, okay, you have a process in ETL, you have one kind of a table or a view in the database, and you have the reporting that is connected to those tables or views. So this is the cross-system lineage. The inner system lineage takes you to what's going on within this report, stored procedure, or ETL, which means you have a semantic layer, for example, in the reporting tool, and a physical layer and the reporting layer, and you need to see what's going on inside the report. So you will be able to see it in the inner system lineage. And if you have an ETL process and you want to figure out, you have a source column and a target column and what's going on within this ETL, then you will be able to see it in the inner system lineage. And we have another layer, which is the more detailed one. It's called the end-to-end column level lineage, which means you can search for a certain column to figure out where it's coming from and where it's going to. So does this column actually moving forward up until it reaches a report, or whether it's stuck in the database area and no report is using this column, or the other way around. You want to see what is the source of this column. You have a column, you have the value of the column, but you don't know if one process or several processes are loading this column. So this is the end-to-end column level lineage, where you can figure out what's loading this specific column. Okay, so typical use cases. You can use it for fixing reports, for change and impact analysis, for migration if you're doing some kind of migration to the more digital, more innovative systems in the data platforms. So you can also use Octopi. So there are many different user cases. I have many customers that use it for a different use case and a variety of things they meet on their day-to-day life. Okay, so let's see it in action. I'll share the actual platform. Okay, so I hope you guys can see my screen. So let's discuss a little bit on what we see on screen. So this is the actually landing page of Octopi. And let's see what we have here on the left banner. So as I mentioned before, I don't know if you guys remember, we have the lineage model, we have the discovery model, and we have the data catalog. All three of them appears over here. And as I mentioned, we have different types of lineage. We have the cross system, we have the inner system, and we have the end-to-end column level lineage. They all appear up here, and we're going to discuss them in a short while. And here on the right banner, what we have is we have the different systems that are connected to Octopi. You can see different ETL, different database, and different reporting tools. And if you're an analyst and you don't care about the ETL, then of course you can drop it. You can just uncheck this one. And if you're an ETL developer and you don't have anything to do with the reporting systems, and then you can just focus on this one. So you can always choose what you want to see in Octopi. And you can see here on this little system monitor all the dates and when was it last uploaded, when was the metadata last uploaded into Octopi. So we have three circles. The circle or the blue circle means the ETL processes. So everything that is ETL will always appear in blue in Octopi, which means here in this case, it's Informatica, it's ADF, it's Oracle, and ClickSense. And we also consider stored procedure as ETL because they're actually doing data manipulation. So we cannot ignore it. They're doing manipulation, so they're called ETLs. So they will also appear here in the blue circles. We have the red circles, which means everything that is actually physical object or database object, tables, views, materialized views, files, also cubes, if you're using all up cubes, and also stored procedures because on their physical side are actually text. So they will also appear here in the red circle. And here on the right, we have the green circles. These are all the reports that you have from different systems over here. So what are we doing here in Octopi, and what are the main use cases for the lineage? We have the root cause analysis, which means you have some kind of report, something is missing the report, and you want to figure out what's loading the report. So you're going to use the root cause analysis, and I'm going to start with this one. So I'm just going to type the name of the report that I'm looking for. I'll write the word top. And see, everything is filtered. I have one ETL that has the word top. I have several of database items, and I have one report. So top product sales. If I click on the little I, then I get to see the report name, the model path, and the tool. In this case, it's Power BI. And now I'm going to click on the different items. I have the cross-system lineage and the inner system lineage. I hope, maybe I'll focus, but see if you can see it. This is the cross-system lineage. I'll just click on this one, and let's see what happens on screen. So what do we have here? As I mentioned before, green circles are reports, red circles are actually database items, and blue circles are the ETLs. So I have one report. You can see here the Google tag over here that tells me this is where I started. It's called top product sales. If I click on it, you'll see the report name and the different information that we saw before. This report is populated by 4 different tables. You can see the red items. You have the tag over here that says tables, whether it was stored procedure or a view. View will have the stored procedure, of course, will have an SP on it. And let's see, these tables are being populated by these ETL processes. And of course, as you probably guys know, this is not the only layer of ETL. This is, for example, the data warehouse data, but you also have the staging, the replica or the MRR. So you have a lot of information that's behind it. And we can also show you this lineage. You can see that there's sometimes a full gray circle or maybe sometimes a half gray circles. This is a hint that there's something more behind it. Let's say I'll choose this one, low DWH. And I can click on forward or backwards. If I click on backwards, this will take me to all the tables that are loading this SSIS process, for example. Okay, so I get to see the entire list of tables that are loading this SSIS process. And I can, of course, move forward and create an entire lineage. Things that I would use to draw on a bunch of A4 pages together just to figure out the entire lineage. Now I get it in one click over here. And this is the staging, and I can, of course, move forward all the way. So you can create your own lineage just by a set of short few clicks. Of course, you can export everything to Excel if you want to document it. Of course, you can save it as a picture or even copy the URL and send it to one of your colleagues if you want to work together on the same page. So this is the cross-system lineage. For root cause analysis case. I came from the report and now I figure out what's loading this report. And if I want to move forward to the inner system lineage, then I can click on the report, for example. Let's see, I have this report. You see, I have this icon. It tells me go to the inner system level, lineage level. So what do we see here? If I open the legend, I see the physical layer. Everything in green is a physical layer. The semantic layer are the changes that are being done in the Power BI, and the presentation layer. This is what the business user that was asking the question seeing in the Power BI. So what do we have here? We have the query end-to-end. We have the name of it. I get to see the component name. In the semantic layer, if I have some kind of a script or a derived table, then I get to see the entire script. And I can search in it, of course. So this is the changes in data manipulations. And I get to see the source tables. These are the database items, the physical tables that are actually connected to this Power BI model. So I'm looking for product ID, and I want to see if there's like some kind of a name change, and I get to see that product ID that appears on this query on the Power BI is coming from the WDIM product. And if I just hop directly to the Power BI of this top product sales that we have over here, then this is the actual Power BI report, a short report I created. And I get to see that we have the fact sales that we just saw, and we have the query end-to-end DWH product info. Just a reminder, we just saw this one, fact sales and query end-to-end product. It's difficult to figure out what's in use, what's not in use, where it's coming from, and you need to hop between the different screens. And in our case, in Octopi, it's really easy to understand what is being used from the entire model, because sometimes you're for this report, for this, let's say, graph, you're using these columns. For this one, you're using a different one from a different query. And it varies. If you have a very large dashboard, it's really complicated. And in Octopi, it's really easy to figure out what's loading the different queries and to figure out what's the source of this column. So this is the inner system level lineage. And let me go back to here to see the cross-system level lineage. And as I mentioned that we have it also in the reporting area, we can also have it in the ETL area. This takes me to another use cases. Now we saw the root cause analysis, but now if we have, for example, an impact analysis, someone is changing the source system, or someone wants to change an ETL process, and you want to figure out what it's impacting on, then we have the load DWH. For example, I take this one. Maybe I need to change something here, and I want to see if I change it here, how many processes it will impact it, and who's gonna collapse, and if I have problems at the night process because I changed some minor thing over here. So I click on the package flow lineage. Sorry, I wanted to click on something else. This is the cross-system lineage. So you see this little SSIS process impacts so many things. You see the different database items over here. Here you can see view, and you can see the stored procedure, and yellow ones are tabular table or all cube, for example. And these are all the reports that will be impacted if I change something over here. So you can always go ahead and create a list of all these items and check that everything is okay before you deploy to production. And as the same as we had over here, the inner system, then we can go inside the load DWH and figure out what's going on within this ETL exactly. So I can click on the plus over here, and it will take me to all the places within this ETL that this specific table that I clicked on the line between this ETL and the table, where in this ETL, this specific table is being loaded. Sometimes the ETL has many sessions or many data flows, and you want to figure out what is the relevant one and to actually choose the relevant one. So we come and help you with it. So I just choose DIM product. And this is also the inner system for what's going on within my ETL. So you can see this is the ETL. I have several of source tables, and I have also some kind of an alldb command. And you see sometimes I have a SQL or a derived, so it's also up here, and we can analyze it for you. And you can see the different manipulation, union, sort, if you have a lookup, or in this case, you have a slowly changing dimension. And the actual output is the table that we saw before, the WDIM product. So you can track a specific column. For example, I just click on product ID, I'll search for it. And I have too many products. And I have product ID. If I click on it, I get to see the entire lineage of what's going on within the ETL, which is actually quite difficult when you're opening. In this case, it is an SSIS. And if I'll hop to this specific SSIS, it's called load DWH. This is the load DWH, as you guys can see over here. I have a trunket in the beginning, and I have the DIM customer, the DIM product. And I don't know where the table is being loaded, which of the components are relevant to the question that I have from the business side. And also, it's really hard in this case to see the lineage of a column within the system. So if I click, for example, a DIM product where we were, you can see that this is the actual lineage or the process in the SSIS. And in order to see what's going on within a different column, then it's hard. I don't know, guys, you can see, I don't know if you can see the SSIS or not. Michal is telling me that you cannot see the SSIS. So let me just share it again. Okay, I hope now that you can see it. Michal, can you see the SSIS?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'll go back and tell you guys that this is the actually SSIS, this was low DWH that we were seeing on screen. And it's really hard to see the column of at the column level of what's going on within this SSIS. And I don't know even where to choose where the output of the column of the table I was looking for. So let's choose this one, dim product, and I click on edit. And in no case I can see the column level like we saw in Octopi. I need to open each component separately and trying to figure out what are the columns, do I have a SQL script within it, what's doing. So we make it a lot simpler for you. Okay, we just, let me go back. No, if I can go back. We make it a lot simpler, just give you the lineage of what's going on in your ETL process over here. And of course, this is a STG and it's not the end of it. There's probably an MRR, so I can click on backwards and forward to see where it's coming from. So these are all the different processes that are loading this table. So I can just choose one of them. I'll choose it here as an SSIS and also Informatica that's loading this table. Just choose one of them and I can hop backwards until I reach the source system. And if I have some kind of a function or a calculation on this column, then I get to see it over here. And of course, I can go all the way back up until the source system. Okay, but I can also, as I told you guys before, there are three different layers of lineage. I have the cross, I have the inner, and I have the end-to-end column level lineage. So if I want to focus on a specific column and not a process and not the entire table, then I can just choose this product ID, click on the three dots over here, and go to end-to-end column level lineage. And what do I get to see over here? Of course, I have always the Google tag that tells me where I'm coming from. I came from load STG. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see that this specific column, if I change something in the load STG, see what's impacting, and I get to see the entire column. Does it have a name change? Does it actually goes all the way to the different reports? Okay, I see there's our open the legend, everything in green, as I mentioned before, reports. Yellow are analysis, database are red, and ETLs are blue. So you can see those have different ETLs that are impacted by this column, and also I have different reports and different analysis tools. And for this specific column, if I want to see where it's coming from, this is the STG. This is the table that's coming from, and I have the AdventureWorks or some kind of a database that is the source of this specific column. So these are the three different lineages that we have. We have the cross system, and we have the inner system, and we have the end-to-end column level lineage. And one more nice thing I would like to show you guys. Let me see if I have it over here. I'll just take one view because I don't know if you guys are using scripts or you have like old store procedure, or even if you're writing store procedure, for example, in Snowflake. So we can also show you, take an entire script. Let's see, I took this text and I made it look like an ETL, like an inner system level lineage. So if I have the tax amount and I want to see what's the source of it, I don't have to go back to the entire script and look for the location and how it's calculated or what's the source of it. Just click on the tax amount now, and then I go and I directly see what is the source of the W fact sales. So these are all the different lineages. And this takes me to another example I would like to show you, to another model. It's called the data catalog space. Since we already have the entire metadata and the different items of the reporting, as we saw, and the product ID, and also a database, so we can have it in the data catalog. So if I have a question, I figure out this is the column I'm looking for, but I have some kind of a business question on it. Who's the owner of this column on the business area side? So I can also click on the 3 dots, and I have the view in the data catalog. So let's click over here, and let's move directly to the data catalog. Okay, so this is the actually data catalog. And what do we have here? I get to see the different filters. I can choose the different systems I would like to see. Here are all the different systems that are connected to Octopi. But if I want to focus on a database or a reporting system, this will be it. And I have different statuses that are connected. In this case, no one actually rated this or had some description for this column. And if I know the description and I would like to add, so of course I can just type it over here and save the description. But let's go ahead and choose something that we already have a description for. So I'm using the statuses, and I'm gonna just talk about the statuses in a minute. Let's show, for example, total due sum. I just click on it. It's a column in Power BI. And I would like to see who's the owner of it. What does it mean? So let's see. We have total due sum. It's column in Power BI. It was rated 5 out of 5. So it means yes, any user can rate the description that was given to this one. And the status is approved. You can choose whatever status that you want. If it's a new item, then you can say pending until a business user approves it. Or if it was deleted or not in use, you can create your own different statuses. You can tag it as a sensitive information or not, so everyone would know whether it's sensitive or not. And let's start with the description. This is the description itself. That's more of a business-oriented description, the technical description. And if you want to use a calculation to exactly explain what is, how this column is being calculated, of course, you can add an entire script over here of how it's calculated. Original description and original calculation, sometimes you have the original calculation within the Power BI or the Tableau or the Tabular, and then we harvest it from you, and then you will be able to see it over here if you already have it in your system. And you can always add the source system, whether it's a CRM, whether it's an ERP, and you can decide to add your own attributes. If you want to save something that we did not think about it, then you can add the custom attribute over here. So this is like a high overview of the item, of the total due sum. And the properties, this is the data type, who updated. In this case, we updated the entry date when it started to be populated within Octopi. This is the date, and the last update, when was it last updated, the entire description for it. And more important, other context, the data owner and the data steward. If I have a question and the description here is not enough, who's the data owner? Who's the business owner of this information? And who's the data steward? If I have some kind of a technical, who I'm gonna ask a question or a technical question, whom I'm gonna approach with this one. So the data owner and the data stewards are over here. And we have also the tab of linked assets, which means Octopi can do, we're like doing an analysis of the entire data platform, metadata that you have, and we connect the different assets. In this case, this total due sum Power BI has the connection to total due sum, another Power BI column, another report that appears the same column. And we have the report Power BI, the name of the report. So these are the connected items, the linked assets that we have for this one. So let's just click on one of them. So I got to the entire report the report of Power BI that has this column that we just see. So this is the description of the report, and I can navigate between the different items in the data catalog. And also another option that we have that's really important is the ability to tag the information. You can give different tags for a project, for an information system, for a source system, and of course you can search by this tag later on. And also a nice thing that we have is the different posts. You can call someone, okay? Let's see if I'm here. Yeah, I'm here, and ask a question, and it will appear directly in my email, and the information is saved. So if someone is asking a question, it's a very populated question that you get 3 times a week from different business users, then you can just write the answer over here, and they'll have to go ahead and check for the information before they ask the question and call you. And it's saved over here all the time. So this is for the data catalog since we already have like 80 or 90% of the different items that you have, then you can just add the information and the calculation over here. And also you can add your own different data assets. As I mentioned before, you have a common information, you have policies, you have master assets, different terminology within your organization that you would like everyone to be aware of and to share the information. Then you can create your own assets that are not connected to the information we harvested from you. And I would like to see, since I got to this report, and now I would like to see this report and hop back to the lineage and the discovery, and I can go directly to the cross-system lineage, the inter-system lineage, and see if I have different results for this report. Okay, so I have this cross-system lineage. One of the reports is the reports I was coming from, and you can see it over here. So these are the different two models that we have. We went through the lineage space, and we went through the data catalog space, and I would like to present you with the discovery. I don't know if you remember, guys, in the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned that we have some kind of a Google, the BI, Google Data Platform. So this is it. Let's write some kind of a word. I'll try a very common word that's called product, and let's see the results. So I get to see a lot of buttons. All the highlighted in blue buttons means that I got some kind of a result for this search word within it. So let's say I'm choosing, let's continue with the SSIS. I want to see the table sources. So I get to see all the tables that has the word product within it, and all the different databases and schema and the different data flows and packages names that they appeared. It's really important, and many of my customers use it. Sometimes they don't know whether it's a, I don't know, SAP ECC 6 kind of a table, and they want to see what are the actually ETL processes that are loading it, so they can search for the name of the table and see all the direct processes that are loading this table, where the information starts. So this is one option. Of course, you can always filter it. If I want to to use it is equal to product, I want to narrow down the results. So I can also do it over here. Another nice thing over here are the lookup tables that are always forgotten if you have a new process and you're changing all the sources on all the targets, but you always sometimes forget the lookup, and then it creates you a lot of problems. So you get to see here the different lookups and where they are located, and the entire script, if they have an override or not. So appear over here. And let's see the SQL commands that are very populated. These are different commands of people who are developing within the different ETL tools with an override SQL. So you get to see the override SQL over here. See if we have something more complex. Okay, so I just chose the word product. So in all of them, the word product will be highlighted. If I have some kind of an override for the SSIS, it's a SQL command. And if you want to figure out whether a column is a source or a target in a different process, then I wrote product, and I can see that, for example, let's take this one that's highlighted over here. Product category ID is a target in this SSIS map. Okay, and this is the data type, and I can filter it and see whether it's also a source or was there any kind of name change for this one. So it's sometimes as a source, sometimes as a target, and these are all the different data flows and all the different ETL processes that this column is participating in. And of course, I can move directly to the inner system to see product category ID. Where does it start and what's the end of it? This is the actually target ECDWA product category. So this is for the more of the ETL. Let's hop into, for example, SQL Server. Of course, I have the entire list of tables that has the word product within it. Let's see if I have, for example, objects. Objects are all the different stored procedure or view or scalar functions that has the word product in it. If I'll just drag it over here, it collapses them all together. Then I can decide whether I want to focus on a certain view. This is the view itself. See, it has a lot of times the word product. The inner system lineage, this takes me to the view. This is the text of the view, as we saw before, and this is, sorry, And this is the map of the view, the inner system of the view. Let's go back to discovery. So this is for, let's say, the SQL. We have also the primary keys and the triggers if you have. And if we're moving to some kind of, let's say, a reporting tool, then let's see if you have ClickSense, you get to see the sheets by column. If this column is part of the sheets, then you can see the name of the sheets and the name of what's the customer, your customer or the inner customer within your organization sees on screen. And you can figure out what's the source of the column. If they see product space ID or ID number, and it's actually product num in the database, then you will be able to see the transformation over here. Let's see, and you have the ERDs, the connection between the different tables and how the model is being created in the reporting system. The column to the right, the column to the left, and the connection between them, the two of them. And let's see if we have something interesting over here. In the SSIS, reports of query, reports by dataset. Of course, if you have some kind of a script that's creating the reports, as in SSRS, for example, then you will be able to see it over here. And the entire list of columns that are participating in a certain report in the name of the database, if you're looking for the database that the report is based on, or if for all the data, the reports that are based on a specific database, if you're going to change the name of the database, for example, then this is the place to create the entire workload list of workloads for changes that you have within your data platform. And also one last thing that I would like to present is the ability to inject your own information. As we saw before, you have the bubbles, you have the different circles, but you have a source system or a different system that you want to create the information for it. Then you can have the ability to insert your own information. We have something that's called augmented link. You can create a source table, a target table. You can create your own bubbles, red bubbles, yellow bubbles, and to connect them to an existing object. I have a customer, for example, that have some kind of a web application that has the entire ERD, and they created different bubbles for this application that is connected to one of the database tables. And then every time they want to investigate something in this web application, they get to Octopi, they see where the data is located and how it is connected to different tables. So I'll just choose one of them. Let's say object name, just choose one of the object that someone added to here. So it's also added to the top dashboard. And I can click on cross. And you can see it's marked in a different way. This is the items that we harvested from the metadata, and this is the different bubbles, the circles that someone added to the system by augmented links. And this is it on my part. So I'll be happy if you have any kind of questions. Michal will share it with me.
Yes, sure. So we have one question regarding the descriptions of columns. Should descriptions for columns come from the physical data model instead of entering them manually in Octopi?
Okay, it's a very good question. If you have it on a physical level in your database or the tabular, then we can harvest it for you, and it can be shown as an original or as a description according to your need. But if it's not there, then you can enter them manually here in the data catalog, or there's a upload system that you can create it outside Octopi and then upload it over here.
And another question from the same person, it's I think it follows up on the same question. How do you manage data sources that cannot be scanned for metadata? Does that object still show up on Lineage, or is it manually inserted by the user?
Okay, so what we see exactly now on screen is one possibility to add information that is not automatically harvested by Octopi. You can create your entire lineage and upload it over here. And for the data catalog, things that we do not harvest, you can create your own assets, master assets, business asset, policy assets, according to your needs.
Any further questions? There's another one. I don't see MongoDB as a supported data source. Any plans?
As far as I know, it's in the roadmap. I don't know to give an exact ETA at the moment.
Do you have an example of a policy asset? Are the description fields the same for all custom objects?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'll go back to here. Let's see if we have a policy. I'm not sure that I have it over here. Let's say unselect them all. See if I have some kind of policy. But no, in this case, I don't have any kind of a policy. But as you see, custom attribute, this is one you can add as many custom attributes as you wish. This is something that we figured out after a lot of work with different customers that is most common. But if you have something that you would like to add, it's your information, it's your metadata. Of course, you can add whatever you want.
Okay, and one more question. Can Octopi map lineage into and out of a SaaS service?
Not sure I understood the question.
Can you give us an example of the service you're looking to map? Okay. Any further questions? I believe we have another one. Do you have any features for managing data integrity?
No, because we do not access the data itself. We only take metadata.
And we got an answer. The type of software service is Salesforce. That's an interesting question. We've heard that.
I guess, but if I understand,
I believe it's on our roadmap, Salesforce. Right?
Yeah, to connect Salesforce, yes. But also, if your system if the different systems that you have in your organization are connected to Salesforce, you can take the outputs table of Salesforce and to check it in Discovery, and it will appear as a source system. It will appear as a source table, and you will be able to see the information that is collected from Salesforce.
And I believe that with the upcoming open APIs, which are also on the roadmap,
yes,
that's a possibility as well.
Yes, definitely. We have an open API that's coming at the end of 2022, which means you will be able to insert any information that you would like into Octopi, since we have automation for the different systems, as I mentioned before, as you saw in the presentation earlier. And we know that we have a lot of systems that many different users or many different enterprises are using. Then you will be able to add them as an open API and to add any kind of items that you would like to Octopi.
And support for Databricks Delta Lake.
Yes, support for Databricks is supposed to be out. It will be released in October 2022.
It's very close, including the Delta Lake. I'm not sure.
Not sure. I need to ask.
We'll have to check that, but definitely on our roadmap. And regarding pricing, no, pricing is not available on our website. However, we can share pricing in an individual demo because it really depends on the amount of sources you need to upload to the system and what kind of usage you have, and it's an individual price quotation. Can your tool be integrated with another data quality tool?
It depends. We need to ask more questions. If you like, then you can set a session and we can discuss. We can have some kind of integration. We have different APIs, so I need to figure out a little bit deeper what you're asking for.
And question that I'm not sure if I understand. Irit, let me know if you understand. What type of connectivity is required?
What type of connectivity is required? I'm guessing the question is how do we harvest the information? I'll share it. There's a client that sits in the different systems in one server at the customer side. It's not connected to Octopi. It is harvesting the information. It's called Octopi client. It's creating XML files, and the XML files are being pushed from the customers into the Octopi portal. There's no direct connection between the customer environment, production environment to Octopi. It's being pushed to XML files that, of course, open to you guys into the Octopi portal. And then we start the analysis for you. And then you will be able to see it in your dedicated URL of Octopi.
And I'm also sharing in the chat a link to our security information, if you want to see it on our website. I just want to see if we have, I think we covered everything. It's about to. Can you run a BI report directly from the Octopi interface?
Okay, no, you cannot, since we're not connected directly to the different systems. You get a dedicated URL, but we're not in your internal environment. You can open it, and since you see the sample path, for example, I have the PBIX, and whether you have an SSRS or something, a Tableau, then you can get the path of it. You can click on it and then run it from there. But directly from here, no.
And is there any data pass through or just metadata?
Just
No.
metadata. Just metadata. We do not deal with data. Sorry, don't deal with data.
Yeah, and another question regarding the pricing model. Our typical pricing model is an annual license, and again, it's based on the amount of sources we're scanning, and it's pretty individual to each company because some companies have multiple sources. Irit, you know better than me how many sources companies scan.
There is.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have different, I don't know, say different, let's say data stage models that can get under 40, and sometimes they have like 50 databases, sometimes they have 3. Depends on how do you build your information. But the amount of users are not limited, and it's not counting the information. It's based on the amount of systems that you're connected, that you're connecting to Octopi.
Yes. I think we're done unless anyone has. I think I just making sure I didn't miss anything. And another one. Is there a typical implementation timeline anticipated for a medium complexity environment? That's a good question. Irit? I think Irit is disconnected somehow. I'm so sorry. Irit got disconnected. So we will send emails to the people who asked the final, the last 3 questions. We'll share with you the information. Just briefly, the implementation timeline is pretty brief. It depends, of course, on the complexity of the environment, but typically what we do, we create a trial environment and we show you an initial scan, and it's just a matter of, let's say, 2-3 weeks. And let's see. Well, regarding the other questions, we'll just send you by email. So thanks again for everyone. And I apologize on behalf of Irit. And it was a pleasure. See you on our next demo. Bye-bye.